Hi everybody, for those of you who I have not met before, my name is Dr. Daniel Bartholomew and I have the privilege of being your professor for this course, Sociology 1301, Intro to Sociology. So as you are hopefully aware, this is a 5-week online summer course. Since it's only 5 weeks long, that means we only have a third of the typical amount of time during a fall or spring semester to cover an entire semester's worth of content. So I open with that just so you all know and are aware, summer courses are pretty intense. We try and cover a pretty hefty amount of information in a relatively short amount of time, but keep in mind that I am aware of that. I'm not trying to overburden you with content. I don't believe in busy work. Everything that I'm asking you to read or watch or complete in this course, I'm doing so because I believe it's going to help you developing your minds in this science of sociology. So the purpose of this video is to give you a brief introduction to the course, to walk you through our Blackboard course website, and just to make sure that everyone understands what's expected of you, especially for this first week of the course. I will say this now, and I will say this many times throughout the semester. I am a huge advocate of transparency, meaning I want everything to be clear and make sense to you. I don't want to confuse you. I don't want you to have questions that remain unanswered. I also am a huge advocate of communication. So if anything is confusing, if you don't understand an assignment, if you don't understand a reading, if you don't understand a concept that we're introducing that week, please feel free to send me an email and I'm happy to answer questions via email, or if you'd prefer, we can set up a Zoom meeting so we can talk about things through the screen and get you the answers that you need to be successful in this course. All right. First and foremost, I want every single one of you to succeed. As I mentioned in my introductory email, I really don't care about grades. I care about learning. I like to see that my students are demonstrating that they're really engaging with the course material, that they're really trying to answer some of the questions and the discussion prompts that I'm providing to y'all, and that you're really trying to develop what we refer to in this discipline as a sociological imagination, which is something we'll be covering this first week of class. So let me quit rambling and take you through our course Blackboard page. So if you log into Blackboard through TAMUCC and select our course, which is again Sociology 1301, Intro to Sociology, it will bring you to this welcome page where you will also find the link to this introductory video. Once I'm finished recording, I'll upload it here as well. On the left-hand column here, you'll see all of the tabs that you will need to be familiar with for this course. The syllabus tab is the first thing you'll want to check out. The very first thing I'm asking you to do this week is to go ahead and read through the syllabus for this course. I'm not going to read through it in detail in this video. I trust that you are all capable of reading through it. I would pay particular attention to the course objectives and for the course assignments and coursework for this particular class, just to make sure, again, everything is really clear and transparent to you. The deadlines for all of your assignments are listed in the syllabus, but I remind you of all of those deadlines on our course Blackboard page. I send frequent email reminders for assignments as well, so don't worry about that. Probably the most important tab in Blackboard is our course content tab. So this is where you will find all of the assignments, all of the assigned readings, all of the videos, my video lectures for every week of this course. So I organized the course into 5 weekly content folders. I don't release the weekly content until the Sunday prior. So we will not have access to the week 2 content until this upcoming Sunday, which is July 10th towards the evening. And I do that intentionally because, like I said, summer courses we're already covering a lot of information. I don't think it's practical for students to try and work ahead several weeks because there's no way you're going to learn and retain information if you're just trying to cram through this content as quickly as possible. And again, I don't care about grades, I care about learning. So I want you to learn. So my practices are informed by the scholarship of teaching and learning. I'm a nerd, I do research on teaching practices. So I know what I'm doing and I know what it takes to get students to be successful in actually learning and retaining information and being able to apply it in their lives. So At the very top of this, you'll see study resources. These are things that I provide for you at the beginning of the semester. You may want to review them earlier. You may want to review them closer to times that make more sense. For example, I include study guides for the two exams we'll be having in this course. Our first exam is not for about 2 weeks, so you don't need to necessarily start filling this out now, but I do provide these from the beginning of the semester. So if you want to start filling out this study guide, as we start going through terms, you see I kind of organize it into the weeks or the modules that we're covering here, the important terms. I also provide some more detailed examples of some complex ideas or theories that we're covering in this class, so feel free to engage with these study guides however you see fit. All right, let me go back to our course content page here. In the week 1 content folder, this is pretty standard for what every weekly content folder is going to look like. The very first thing you'll see in the content folder is your weekly to-do list. So in this to-do list here, I outline all of the things that you have to accomplish for that week. So you can see the first thing on the to-do list here this week is to read through the syllabus. Your next thing to do is to complete an introduction discussion post for extra credit, and this is due by Thursday, July 7th at 11:59 p.m. So this is optional. You don't need to do this assignment, but if you want to start off the semester with some extra credit, this is an easy way to do it. If you click on this introduction discussion board tab here, it'll bring you right to this introduction discussion post page, and you can see I just asked some basic questions. This is just an opportunity for us to get to know each other. I want this class to be as interactive as possible, even though it is online. You'll see I've already posted my introduction discussion post here. Mine is really long because I want to give you the opportunity to get to know me better. Yours does not necessarily need to be as lengthy as mine was, but I would encourage you to not only post yours, but also read through the introduction post of other students, maybe say hi to a few people. I really want us to establish as much of an online community as we can in this course so we can engage in some really interesting conversations with each other. So let me go back to our week 1 content folder here. See, the next thing on our to-do list after completing the introduction discussion post is to view the content and lecture videos for the week and to take notes. So you'll see that within every weekly content folder, I organize the content into modules. Now, like I said, the summer course is only 5 weeks long, but we're still expected to cover an entire semester's worth of content. So the way I do that is by organizing each week into modules. So each module would typically be something that I would spend an entire week covering in a fall or spring semester. Now, I did trim them down quite a bit. I got rid of a lot of required readings and videos, and I'm really just only asking you to focus on things that I, again, think are really important here. So let's take a look at one of these modules and see what they look like. The first thing you'll find in the module folders are guided questions. You do not necessarily need to answer these questions. This is not an official assignment, but every week I will provide you with 4 or 5 questions that I think will just kind of help you focus on the main takeaways as you work through the content for that week. So I would encourage you to write down these questions in your notebook or however you take notes and try and answer these questions as you're working through the content within that module. I think if you do that, you're going to be setting yourself up well to perform well on the quizzes, the discussion posts, and the exams for this course. Below the guided questions, you'll typically see links to 4 or 5 different readings or videos. These are all relatively brief, and again, I only assign things that I think are important. So for example, this What is Sociology takes you to a little web page here for an online textbook that is free of charge to us. And you can see this page isn't very long, a few paragraphs, maybe it'll only take, 3 or 4 minutes to read through. So again, I'm not trying to overwhelm you with unnecessary readings or unnecessary videos. I'm only assigning things that I think are important. So in the module folder, I would recommend you work through the content within each module, clicking on each link in the order that I list them. There is a method to my madness. I organize things in a way to that I think is going to be beneficial for your learning. You'll see that it's a combination in every module of both readings as well as video clips. I believe in multimodal learning, which means, I know not everyone learns well simply from reading. Other people like myself learn from listening and hearing things. So I do incorporate a lot of video clips as well. The single most important piece of content in every module folder is going to be this subfolder here that says slides and lecture videos. All right. This is where I post my lectures of the content that we're covering in this module. So if you're someone that really benefits from attending lecture and hearing your professor kind of talk and explain readings and explain concepts from their perspective, or from my perspective in this instance, these lecture videos are probably going to be the single most important piece of content in each module folder. Each video that I post here is less than 15 minutes in length, so they're not super long. There's typically 4 or 5 lecture videos for each module. So if you're feeling really confused after reading through the few assigned readings and videos that I've assigned, I definitely would recommend that you pay most attention to these lecture videos, all right? At the bottom of all of these lecture video folders, I also include the actual slides, so the PowerPoints that I'm going through in these little mini recorded lecture videos. But again, feedback from students that I've had in the past said that the most valuable piece of content in my online courses are these lecture videos, because I break down the kind of confusing ideas and concepts that we cover in as straightforward and clear language as possible. So again, I definitely would recommend that you take the time to read or watch through these lecture videos, and if you need to, revisit the slides on your own time as well. The other thing I include in the weekly content folder is something I am calling, or in each module folder, excuse me, I'll always include a folder for optional content for further learning. So if you feel like there's a particular concept or idea that is addressed in the assigned readings and videos, but you don't really have a solid grasp of it, you can take a look in this folder and you'll see I post additional videos and additional readings as I see fit that I think will provide you more examples and more context for things. I call this optional content because I don't think you necessarily need to read and view this content to perform successfully in this course, but if you want additional resources other than reaching out to myself with questions, this is a great place to do that. So every module you will see one of these folders that says optional content for further learning. Again, it's optional. You don't necessarily need to read or view the materials in there. All right. So the next thing, if we go back to our to-do list, is going to be to complete your module quizzes. So in each module folder, you will see there is a quiz. These quizzes are 10 questions. They're all multiple choice, true and false. And they're just to kind of assess your learning of the main ideas, concepts, and theories that are presented within each module. I recommend, therefore, that you work through all of the content in the module before you take the quiz. However, you can retake the quiz as many times as you want, and I will only count your highest quiz score for your final grade. So take the quiz as many times as you'd like, and once you get a score that you're satisfied with, the perfect score would be 10 out of 10, that score will count towards your final grade. You will be able to view the responses and feedback you got for your quiz after the quiz deadline. Quizzes are always going to be due Fridays at 11:59 p.m. After you've completed all 3 of the modules for this week, you can see there's 3 modules, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. Each module has its own quiz, so there's 3 quizzes to do this week. After you do that, you'll complete your week 1 discussion board. So to do that, you'll click on this tab, scroll down to the week 1 discussion, and you can see I provide some guidelines for how to successfully complete the discussion board. I ask you to respond to at least 2 of the 4 prompts that I provided for this week and to write a healthy response. As you can see right here, I say that there is no required word count. However, your discussions should demonstrate that you're really engaging with the course content and that you're doing some deep critical thinking. So in other words, demonstrate to me that you actually watched the lecture videos. Demonstrate to me that you actually read through the readings I asked you to read through. Make connections to your life. Make connections from what we're covering in this class to what's happening in the world today, right? Really engage in some critical thinking, and don't be afraid to make mistakes here. I'm more going to be concerned with the amount of effort you're putting in rather than whether everything you're saying is factually correct at this particular point, all right? I also encourage you to ask questions in your discussion forum so myself and your other classmates can reply and engage in conversation. Your discussion post, the initial post, will be due every Friday at 11:59 p.m. I also require you to comment on at least 2 other students' posts by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. of every week. All right? So that's what we have to get through for this first week. Again, I will be providing many email reminders throughout this week to keep you on task. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm very excited to share my passion for sociology with each and every one of you. I'll talk to you soon.